Hey, thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk about some important things, the nature of existence, and how that relates to death and life. Because if you don't understand how existence works, how reality works, what is the truth about all that, how are you ever going to reach through the veil and connect with anyone that you love in the spirit world, whether that's a family member, a partner, a guide, an angel? We need to understand why we're here. Like, who are we? What is this world really about? And I bet that not everyone knows the answer to those questions, right? So, first, let me explain, like, where do I get off telling you what I'm telling you in this video or any other? So let me explain that for over about 37 years now, I've been connecting to the spirit world. When I opened up as a channel way back in 1987, I just started hearing spirit, and I didn't have any teachers in a body. Well, I had one, but that person wasn't really my teacher, and he ended up wanting me to help him teach his classes, so I gave up on that. So I would have questions, and I'd get the answer from spirit. And later, when went out in the world and I started to join other groups online, in those days, it was like message boards. That sounds ancient, right? Like now we have social media. But back in those days, there were message boards, and people would ask a question and I would get the answer. So basically, I'm a mystic. And a mystic is someone who gets their information more or less from the other side. They don't read a lot because they get direct transmission. So I'm not saying that I never read. I absolutely have read books, but when I do read, I hear spirit telling me, "Oh yeah, that's right," or "No, ignore that." So in other words, they do a lot of editing. And when I read something or hear somebody say something, I will immediately know whether that's truth. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. So you can believe what I'm telling you can reject what I'm telling you. I always tell our students and clients to trust their own feeling, their own instincts. So if it doesn't resonate as truth, like reject it. It just means it's not your truth. It doesn't necessarily mean that whoever you're listening to or whatever you're reading or watching, that isn't true. It just means it's not for you. We're all here to have our own experience. We are all on our own unique journey, and we cannot really compare ourselves to anybody else. So don't worry about it. Just listen to what I'm about to share with you and let it sink in. Okay, don't let your conscious mind process it. Because one thing I'm here to tell you is your logical conscious mind is not connected to higher intelligence, to source energy, to God consciousness, which is who you really are. So if you're trying to understand it logically, you're not going to get the real picture. You're not going to feel into the truth of that. Okay, so feel it. It will resonate with you as truth if it is your truth in this moment. All we're dealing with is in this moment. So let's just get started right here. Okay. Who are we? We are nothing less than a physical expression, an extension of God's source. So, whatever your definition of that is, you could call God consciousness, which is what a lot of people say, that God is consciousness, it's the collective consciousness of all of us, really of all of creation. And all of creation is actually conscious, is in a sense aware. Okay, not like you and me, because humans are different, but animals are conscious and aware, and a lot of people communicate with their pets and animals because they are alert, they're aware, they can communicate. Now, they don't always, let's say, talk directly like physical beings do, right? Because some animals actually do not like to communicate, as animal communicators will tell you. They're not all talkative, but they are conscious and they feel, they have emotions, they have thoughts, right? But they're not, still they're not human consciousness, but they're still conscious, right? So you and I are expressions of the energy, the consciousness that is source, without exception. Why this is important is because as source energy, you can't really be destroyed, and the spirit that you are, the soul that you are, remains on the other side. It is always on the other side, the larger part of you, right? Other spiritual teachers say the same thing. The people I would recommend, for that, to confirm that, are Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, and Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. Okay, both Bashar and Abraham talk about the fact that the greater part of us remains non-physical. Why this is important is because if you and I are actually spirit, just in a body right now, or having a body right now, this means because we're spirits and we have a soul, we can communicate with the spirit world. It's built into our DNA. Okay, this is who we are. This is why children, when they're little, before they're programmed out of it, before they're told they're making it up, are connected to the other side. And quite often they see spirits. I know our son did. He would he would say, I see a dead person, or I see a ghost, or I see an angel or a being, they're sitting on my bed. And kids do this all the time because that is our true nature. We are spirit beings who happen to have expressed a portion, just a tiny portion of our consciousness into this body. So the greater part of us remains in the spirit world eternally. So let's talk about that a little more, okay? And remember, everything that exists is an expression of God's source. Every particle, every atom. So if everything is God, there's nothing that is not God. Nothing. Like nothing. Even the concept of demons or whatever, or any being or creature, or something that exists that you would label as bad or evil or wrong, it's still God. Okay, it could be, and probably is, if it's a person, very distorted, because when you come into a physical body, you take on an ego personality structure, which is going to be, by definition, have some flaws and imperfections. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit, about, okay, why do we even come here, right? Why do we come if our home is in heaven on the other side, and it's perfect and beautiful, and we have everything we need? Why the heck would we come here? When you look around you and go, well, this is kind of crazy here. Life is rather hard here. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of suffering. There are a lot of people doing terrible things. There are also a lot of people doing amazing, beautiful things, aren't there? It's a contrast of light and dark, so-called good and evil, although, we don't really, source doesn't really see it that way. It's just, we are living in a world that's built of illusion. We're dreaming this life, whereas we're really awake on the other side. When we come here, literally, when you wake up from your nighttime, you're dreaming, right? You're actually falling asleep. You're falling asleep into this dream world. Whereas when you go to sleep at night, you're returning to your real home, and you're waking up, in a sense, on the other side. Okay. So everything that exists is an expression of God's source. Everything, every creature, everything. This means once you exist, you can never cease to exist. How could that be possible? That's the definition of existence. Existence exists. So you can never not exist. Your loved one who crossed over to the other side has not ceased to exist. All that happened was they dropped their physical body, as will you and I when the time comes, right? But we go on. We go on eternally. But this 3D world, as you know, because you live in it, it decays. It doesn't continue on and on. Somehow, sometime, it might take years, it will start to devolve, right? It'll start to fall apart. It'll start to degrade, and won't continue forever. But the energy of it will still exist, right? So if somebody's body dies, it you could cremate it and it'll be scattered, on Earth somewhere, but so that the particles exist, it will always exist on some subatomic level. It will just not be in this 3D body form, right? And so the same is true for consciousness. Consciousness just continues. It just withdraws its focus from the physical body as it transitions to its true home, non-physical world. Okay. Also, I want you to ponder this, and for some of you, this could be a stretch because you go, okay, I am a creator, a God in this physical body, and now I am telling you you're a multidimensional being. The reason I want you to understand this is because when you return home, just as your loved ones on your side have, okay, you have more an awareness that you're multidimensional. This means that on the other side, they can be with anyone they choose. They can be everywhere. Alan, my husband, who when he crossed over, when he returned to me, said, I could be with a million people and still be with you. I don't have to leave you. I can always be with you because I'm multidimensional. And by the way, he reminded me, so are you, Pam. Like you exist on all these other dimensions of reality. That's a story for another, video, but we are greater than we know ourselves to be. All right. So whether you want to really absorb that idea that you're multidimensional, I want you to understand that your loved one in spirit is. And that's why they can appear to different people even at the same time, and they can be with you and still be on the other side. So any medium who tells you you're holding them back doesn't understand that the soul is multidimensional. Now, some mediums do know this. I have heard a few who are familiar with quantum physics and will say, yes, the soul is multidimensional. Yes, we exist in many different realities. And yes, we can be everywhere and anywhere we choose, even while you're in a body, by the way. But again, that's for another discussion because part of you is elsewhere while you're here right now. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But so this is important, understanding that your loved one is multidimensional because that means you can't hold them back. That means they can be with us. Okay. And in most cases, especially if it's a partner, more especially if it's a partner or spouse, and sometimes with other family members, because it depends on the agreement the soul's made. But usually with a partner and spouse, they can always be with us. Just like when they were in a body, they were pretty much always with us, right? And even if they weren't always with us when they were here, well, now they can really be always with us because that's just the truth. Okay. So I want everybody to let go of any fear that, oh, I've lost my loved one, and they're gone. And here we're going to talk a little bit about reincarnation and past lives here, because really past lives are actually parallel lives. You could say parallel realities that exist that you are living right now. So I don't want to get too much into that. Again, that's a whole other discussion. But parallel lives, past lives, mean they're lives that you are living simultaneously, and you are drawing in all likelihood, you're drawing some knowledge from those past lives that relate to this one. Okay. But you are living other existences and there's bleed through. You won't usually remember clearly on your own what those lives are because it would be completely confusing. You're having difficulty just focusing here. So can you imagine if you were aware of, let's say, just 10 of your parallel lives that you're living, you'd be completely confused and wake up and go, which life am I in? Right. So you're here in this one and need to be focused here in this one. So just understand, though, that you are having these other experiences, and sometimes you will feel like something's changed in you, and it isn't always about what's happened in this life, but it could be what's happened in a parallel life, right? All right, let's look at so all of this means they want to drive home the point that you can't be parted from your loved ones, even if you're living those parallel lives, and you're living with them in other lives, and you're living other lives maybe without them, right? And they without you. Don't worry about it. Like, oh my God, they're living without me. Like, what are they doing? Are they married to somebody else? Like, let that go. You cannot possibly understand this from your physical 3D human perspective. As a soul, when you cross over, you'll see the bigger picture. You see the broader perspective. You understand that you're having these multiple lives and you're having living some of them with your loved ones, meaning, partner, parent, child, whatever, and you're living some of them on your own. But it's a you're having all these experiences, and it's all for your growth, all for your growth. So people who are worried, like, oh, is my loved one going to reincarnate without me? No, even if they did, let's pretend they did, right? And in the scenario I gave you, where all right, you just chose to live a life without maybe any of your loved ones. Like maybe your soul says, you know what, I want to experience what it is to really go solo in a life because I want to have a certain experience. So okay, you go into that life, but because you're multidimensional, you still connect with everyone in spirit. Because didn't we just say you remain in the spirit world? So you're not going to miss anybody because you're all there on the other side in spirit. It's just that you projected part of yourself into different, not always bodies, because sometimes, you might exist in a certain dimension or a certain planet, and it's not always going to be like a human physical body, but your consciousness is going to be expressed in some form and in another place. Okay. Again, it could be a planet, it could be a different dimension, it could be another reality, whatever. So you don't have to worry. The people who ask this question, is my loved one going to reincarnate without me? They're fearing that they're going to be left behind. You cannot be left behind. That is impossible. You're always together on the other side. Okay. You never leave it, the bigger part of you. Okay. You have to start understanding that you're this bigger energy, this being than you understand yourself to be. Okay. Because your body actually exists inside your soul. Okay, like people say, I come into this world and my soul enters my body. No, your body is too small to house your whole soul in its confines. Okay, what actually happens is, as a soul, you create a sort of crystalline seed of your consciousness, a piece of your consciousness that becomes your body, and your soul, it remains like this bigger, like, sphere of energy, the sphere of light. Let's just describe it that way, because really we're all light beings. So your soul retains its size, its wholeness, its a sphere of light, and it creates this crystalline, let's just say, seed, not technically that, but it forms your body that has a personality construct, has certain beliefs that it comes in with, it's going to explore. It has to have a persona in which to explore 3D reality in this example, okay? So because your body exists inside your soul and your soul is kind of more the container, okay? This means, and I'm going to maybe talk about this a little bit more later. When you connect to your higher self in your soul, you actually start to access more of who you really are, and you can even be able to heal yourself, because now you are understanding that you're more than the physical body, and you're saying, okay, I am this soul, I'm this eternal soul, and the soul is the seat of my intuition. You're here to embody your soul. Okay, you're good. Sorry. Like I said, my energy keeps rising and my electronics are going berserk. My air conditioner turned off, different things turned off and on. It's just wild. This is what happens when you start really raising your vibration. You've got to integrate it and moderate it. So anyway, we're here to embody our soul and our higher self, to live from that place of who we really are. And this will help us connect to the other side. Okay. So, yeah, there are other ways to connect to the other side. But if we're talking about continuing relationships, which is not the same thing as just being a medium and having like a conversation, we want more than a conversation. Those of us who want to continue relationships, okay? We want to have contact. We want to have physical contact, which you can have, not like literal 3D contact, but certainly energetic contact, a sort of physical contact, which our students are experiencing. All of that's possible and more. We're only scratching the surface of what we can experience. It's all due to our beliefs. So your only limit is going to be your belief system. That's it. That's what the other side told me. The veil is a construct of our collective beliefs and agreements that we all agreed that there's a veil. And so we created one. But for those who choose to believe that there is no longer a veil, guess what? You don't have a veil and you can experience all kinds of magic and miracles through the veil. This is not impossible. It's not wrong. It's not evil. The veil was just created because humanity wasn't ready to have full and direct access to the other side. The only thing is they did when hundreds and hundreds of years ago, indigenous people have always had contact with the other side. It's just that as we became, quote, more civilized, we decided, well, that isn't real. But now we're remembering what the real truth is. Okay, so the real truth is we are spirit beings and we can stay connected through the veil if we understand that this is a journey of soul awakening. Okay, it's not just about becoming psychic, although psychic does have to do with the soul. It means personal development, like getting rid of your limiting beliefs and your fears, like the beliefs and energies that lower your vibration. Okay, because a person can be profoundly psychic and even be a medium and not have a high vibration. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. It doesn't mean all mediums don't have a low vibration. So don't say I'm telling you that. That's not true at all. I'm just saying that just being a medium, just being a psychic, is not a sign of somebody being evolved. If it were, then all the psychics would be these enlightened beings, and that's just plain not true. They're human, just like you and me, and some of them are even more flawed than you or me. So it's all, across the board, right? The quality is not consistent. That's just how it is. Okay, so your soul, therefore, is the seat of your psychic awareness. All your psychic ability comes from your higher self and your soul. Your physical conscious mind is completely unpsychic. Okay, let me repeat that. Your physical conscious mind is not psychic. It doesn't see the bigger picture. It doesn't understand what the soul understands. It's only designed to experience this reality, but we're right here, okay, this illusionary reality. That's it, folks. Only to experience this world. It cannot understand or process non-physical. And it will, in fact, resist your efforts to reach the veil if this is new to you and it, because it's programmed to protect you. So if you start reaching through the veil and you have limiting beliefs about it because maybe you were raised in your religion to fear the other side, to believe in demons, and just to be fearful in general and have a fear of the afterlife, you're not going to have much, progress, because your beliefs are going to create that fear. That is how powerful you are, that no one really wanted you to know. But we're here to remind you of what your soul always has known, is that you create everything you experience in your reality. Okay. So this is why, if you understand that your soul is a seat of your psychic awareness, why you want to pull toward really aligning with your soul and less identifying with your ego, human self. Yes, you need that part of you to navigate the 3D world. You just do, but it's not meant to drive the vehicle that is your life, okay? It's meant to be in the passenger seat. And it's your higher self, your soul, that's meant to be in the driver's seat, okay? Once you got that switch done, that your higher self is more aligned and in charge, and your ego, your human self, is just a more of a passive, in a sense, passenger, then your life becomes transcendent, okay, and magical, because you are being who you always have been and always will be, and you will be guided, and your life would be much more intuitive, meaning that you'll just know what you need to know when you need to know it. You'll find yourself just figuring things out effortlessly, because your intuition just is clearly saying yes to this and no to that, and you just know what's right for you. Okay, so if you're not experiencing that, or haven't experienced at least sometimes, that means that your human ego self is more in charge. Okay, some of you are having some of that experience, right? Where you're feeling guided. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. So that will help you gauge, like, where am I? And we're not trying to judge anybody here. We're just trying to help you assess, in case you want to go all in on awakening and embodying your soul. Okay, it's your choice. I can promise you that if you're listening to me right now, and especially if you're in our Soulmates in the Afterlife Facebook group, this means this is on the table for you. This is an option for you, meaning awakening your soul, or you wouldn't have found us. Okay. But you still have free will to pursue it or not pursue it. And you can change your mind and say, okay, I don't want to do this. Like, I changed my mind. I don't like this. I'm afraid of it. I hope you don't choose it from a place of fear, because that means you're making the decision from a place of distortion. You want to make a choice from a place of feeling aligned, like, I feel right with this decision. This feels good to me. And it certainly could feel better to you or good to you to not do this, which just means it's not your time. Okay. But it doesn't change the fact that your soul is the seat of your psychic awareness. Okay. I also want to assure you that you, like everyone else, has a spirit team of guides, angels, and loved ones who are on the other side. All your family members, ancestors that you never met before. Okay. They're all on your side. They are all trying to do whatever they can to help you. Okay. They always do that. Now, you're going to ask me, well, why aren't they helping me then? Like, I asked for help and I'm not getting it. Well, they have to work around your belief system. They honor your free will choice to believe what you choose. So if you've decided, for whatever reason, to believe in fear, or believe the paranormal is scary, or there are demons in the world, or whatever, okay, they have to walk around that. They can't override that. They can only do so much. So they they are limited only by you, because remember, you create your reality. They can guide you, they can help you, but you're the one that is in charge. Once again, we go back to who's driving the car that represents your life, right? Who's driving the vehicle? Is it your higher self or your soul? Or is it your ego, your human self? Okay, who's driving it? You can tell in any moment by how you feel when you're living your life, because if you're feeling comfortable, positive, you're feeling in the flow, you're more aligned with your soul. And trust me, people connect with their soul even if they don't believe they're a soul, because that is the true you. It's just that you could really easily pinch yourself off from that connection by going to fear, going to judgment, into resentment, going into negative emotion that basically is not aligned with your higher self or soul. So you can shift your vibration and not be in touch with who you really are, right? That's the power you have. So if you ask for help, you have to ask for help, because they can't intervene unless you ask. And even if you ask, they only can give you what you are willing to receive. What do you believe? Are you open? Are you receptive? Okay, but they will try. They'll keep trying. So I I always tell people, just keep asking. But remember, once you ask to relax and receive, right? Don't keep stressing out. Just if you keep asking and asking and asking, I need this, I need this, I need this, you're not taking a breath in. You're not letting the other side pr- come through to you, right? You're not receiving the help because you're so busy asking. Just like when people are trying to communicate to someone across the veil and they're talking, 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 which is great. Don't get me wrong. A lot of you need to start by just talking as much as you can and knowing that your loved one is listening to you. But at some point, you got to pause and listen, right? Because the talking is kind of the asking, right? Is the active aspect of communication, talking, talking. We also got to listen. We got to receive. We got to relax. Got to, okay, let me hear what you're saying. And when you hear or perceive whatever you believe they are saying to you, you got to accept it. How many times has spirit told me, but I'm talking to her and she's not believing it's me. I'm giving a message and she's saying, oh, I'm making it up, or that's too obvious, or what have you. So please don't ask a question of the other side and relax and hear something or perceive something and then like deny it or push it aside or say that can't be true. Okay, that's not productive. That's not going to get you anywhere. And I don't know if any of you saw that, but on my screen there was a thumbs up that came up. That's Alan. He did that on our academy class the other day when I speak, whether it's on here, like on StreamYard, streaming into YouTube, or on a Zoom meeting. Sometimes this little thumbs up bubble will come up, and I know that's him just going, "That's right," emphasizing that last point. Okay, so you want spirit communication? You better believe you're having spirit communication. You have to suspend your disbelief. If you're not willing to do that, you might as well forget it because you're just going to be frustrated. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to just think, oh, you're just going to keep disbelieving because you're not accepting it, right? Any psychic development teacher is going to tell you the same thing. You have to be willing to believe what you're experiencing. If you're not ready or willing to do that, don't even try. It won't go well for you. But if you can, just believe and accept what you're experiencing. Now you're onto something and you're going to develop your connection. Okay, so I would say please do that first. Please just trust and believe. And if you're not ready to do that, then work on that issue. Like dig down deep and find out why. What am I afraid of? Why am I not willing to believe in this? You've got to root that fear and doubt and distrust out. Okay, don't even try. You could try, but you're gonna get so frustrated and then you're gonna, in your own way, prove to yourself that, yeah, this must be baloney, only because you believe it is, only because you have fear and doubt about it. So please don't even try this unless you've rooted out your fears and doubts. Why do we incarnate to begin with when heaven is a place of perfection? It's because growth is minimal in heaven, since it is a place of timeless, right? Timelessness, right? It's just timeless. And so while there's always growth happening on some level, it's so infinitesimal compared to what the soul can experience when it goes into other realities, other planets, other dimensions, or comes to the earth plane. Okay. Otherwise, on the other side, because just oneness, just that oneness, there's no contrast. There's no light and dark, right? There's no limitation, there's no restriction. Whatever you think of, you manifest right away. Whatever you ask, the answer is given right away, instantaneously. So all your needs are met. There's no challenge, zero. And of course, for a lot of you, you're going, oh, I want that right now. My life is so challenging. And I hear you. I hear you. But if you're here right now, it's because you are needed on the planet and you chose to be here. So I know it's hard, but you have help. Remember, we said you have spirit team, you have guides and angels who are trying to help you. They're there, but you got to work on your side. You can't just sit here passively. You've got to clear out your limiting beliefs and connect to your soul. But because change and growth are minimal in the spirit world, that's why we incarnate. That's it. Because Source, God, you and me, as aspects of God Source, are here to grow and learn and take Source consciousness to new places where it's never been before. How do you do that in a timeless state? Okay, where there's no conscious. That's why you go into different realities, different experiences where there is some sort of contrast. And yeah, in the earth plane, there is a heck of a lot of contrast and limitation. And it's one of the toughest schools in all of creation. But I understand there are actually some schools that are even worse, tougher. Okay, not going to say worse, tougher. Believe it or not, they're way tougher. But this is one one of the upper on upper levels of challenging. Okay, and there are other realities which are much easier. But you and I chose to be here. We knew we would have support from the spirit world. We knew that we would be coming in during a time of massive awakening of the planet, and we wanted to have front row seats to the ascension, the awakening of humanity. Not everyone's going to wake up. That that is a given. But if you're here and that concept even registers a little bit in your awareness, that means you are probably here to wake up too. Or like I said, you wouldn't even been listening to me. You would have watched this video and just walked off and said, "This is a bunch of baloney." You wouldn't be here at all. So the fact that you're listening, the fact that you're curious, even if you still have a doubt, it means this is likely what you came here to explore. There are no accidents. Everything in life is an orchestration of your higher self, of your soul, even and especially the challenges you face, that we all face. All of it is set up by your soul for your growth. The positive experiences and even the so-called negative ones. But they aren't really negative, folks. They're just experiences that are meant to challenge us, to help us to grow so that we would expand faster, because that's just how rapid growth occurs when people are challenged. You know, it doesn't come from just passively floating along like on a river. Someone just asked, "Does engaging in relationships like across the veil help those in the spirit world grow?" Absolutely. And I talked about this. I think we talked about this in Academy yesterday. That I don't think you folks understand how this experience of, for them in spirit, loving someone through the veil, and I don't mean just, again, mediumship messages, okay? I'm talking about ongoing, active communication and contact, as if they're still here because they're not dead, they are still here. That kind of connection absolutely helps them grow. For one thing, it is so, so rare for any spirit over there to have that relationship, because most people in this reality don't believe in it. But for them, it helps them grow as a soul because they're having a new experience, aren't they? And what did I say? On the other side, it's timeless, unchanging. They don't get to have this contrasting experience, but they get to connect through the veil. Okay, so it's a phenomenal opportunity for growth for you, me, them, for source. Source gets to expand in a way it's never been able to before, because humanity begins to see, oh, I'm an eternal being, I'm immortal. I don't have to lose the people who seem to die. I can stay connected. They can keep guiding me. They can keep interacting with me. They can keep loving me. We can have everything that we had when they were in a physical body, except they do not have a body. Okay. And not only that, you're going to break new ground. You're going to, as we are doing in our academy, Supernatural Love Academy, because when our students are meeting with me, like on Zoom, and we're talking, there's class being held on the other side at the same time because they need to learn. They're not all wired and up and ready to project through the veil. Mediums will tell you that too. Mediums know that. Mediums know that not all souls who've crossed over can easily communicate even to them, let alone project their energy and be more present, right? To be communicating with us, to have us feel them. We've got students that feel their loved one at night, like holding their hand or hugging them, even making love with them as a partner. I mean, anything and everything is possible for those who believe, but you got to work on yourself. So figure out how you're going to do that. If you don't join us in our program, find somehow way that you're going to do it, or you're not going to get there. You'll just be like a medium who maybe has communication once in a while, signs once in a while, that kind of thing, maybe. Usually signs kind of fall away, at least a little bit, as you have stronger connection, because spirit wants more than signs. They know that they can be an active part of our life. They can be talking to us. They can be, again, guiding us, healing us. You guys don't even know the that part. The other side has always come through and helped us heal, not just angels and guides, but our loved ones. I've talked to nurses, hospice nurses, different nurses who've told me that they've experienced like things like that, where someone was on death's door, and then somebody walks in the room, and when the nurse comes in, I remember this nurse telling me the story. The nurse came in the room, the person wasn't there who walked in the room, and this young girl, was on death's door. She was expected to pass that night, and the nurse described the woman that walked into this young girl's bed, hospital bed, to the family, and the mother said, "Oh, that's my grandmother who died, 10 years ago." Looked exactly like the grandmother. Well, the girl lived. The girl, like, turned the corner, and she was healed. This happens so often, it's mind-blowing. This also means when you and I are not well, and especially if we've got a connection, ongoing connection through the veil, our partners will heal us, can heal us. Okay. I mean, they help us heal ourselves, really. Okay. But if it's appropriate that we can heal this, because sometimes we have a condition to learn from. Okay. But let's say that's not the situation. We've had students that were healed by their partners or their loved ones. Alan's healed me of things. He promised me I would never get COVID because he guided me how to take care of myself. So many things. They want to do this for us, and they have been helping. As I said, they've been healing loved ones without even being asked, or maybe a family member did. In that case of that young girl, maybe somebody in the family said, "Oh, please help," whatever. We don't know. All I can promise you is when they cross over, they are powerful healers. And you'll say, "Well, why is that? They weren't like that when they were in a body." Well, guess what? You and I are healers. To be a human, because we're God consciousness, is to be a healer. Okay. When you cross over, now you have no limitations. You have no ego. You are God, don't you? Right? You are God consciousness. You don't doubt your worth. You become the most powerful healer you've ever been before, because now you're non-physically focused completely. And you can come through if necessary, if your loved one asks you to, if it's appropriate. Okay. They can come in and help us. There's happened so many times when I've gone to bed not feeling quite right, and I can feel Alan is healing me, and I wake up feeling better. And he's healed me of numerous conditions. Okay. They can do that. They can do that. There's so much they can do, but they're helping us help ourselves, okay? Because again, all what I really want to point out is that all healing is self-healing. So a spirit, a person, a physical body who's a healer, they're only helping you heal yourself. They can't make you heal, supporting you to heal yourself. And Alan's saying in the case of your loved one, they're really connecting with you on a soul level to kind of activate your own soul's ability to heal yourself. So I encourage you to connect with your higher self and your soul. We're going to teach more about that, not so much on YouTube, but in a Zoom class, a Zoom training, because I really understand that blending with our higher self and our soul is the path to everything, the path to connecting through the veil, the path to healing ourselves, the path to living a full life that we want and deserve. Okay, so it comes down to that. Let me see here. So I'm going to talk about how much time here. Well, we had many time we have left about how to transcend grief. Because what is grief anyway, right? Like, and you and I would say, well, it's because I lost my loved one, right? They're dead. Of course, I'm grieving the loss of them. But really, the source of grief is twofold. Okay, there's two parts of it. One part is your belief that they're dead, or your belief or fear that they're gone. Like I can't connect with you, or your belief that this connection, even if it's through the veil, is not enough. Okay, if you believe it's not enough, it won't be enough. Whatever you believe manifests like instantly. Okay, so it's your belief, also what you focus upon. So hold on here. This is why, because thoughts create what you experience. So, like I said, as soon as you believe, like, oh, you're not here, that reality instantly manifests, and you are in that experience of they're not here, which is an illusion. And the reason you feel so sad and bereft is because it's a lie. So your negative emotion, that response you have of suffering, is just letting you know, hey, what you're just thinking is not true, because they're not dead. They're not gone. But if you refuse to believe that and you instead believe they are dead and gone, you're going to create a big gap between you and them, because that's not true. And the pain is because of that, because you're resisting the truth that they're alive. Their body's dead. That's all. So you're understandably, okay, you're just identifying that they are just a body. It means you don't understand that they're a spirit, and now you have to find another way to relate to them because they're a spirit, not a body. Okay, but remember, you're a spirit too. But for now anyway, you have a body. Okay. So when we think, believe they are dead, right? We instantly create separation, which creates suffering, making it difficult for us and them, by the way, to connect through the veil, because that's the reality we're creating. They have to try to override that, and some of them can override our limiting belief and our fear, but it takes a lot of energy, and a lot of them can't override that, our beliefs. They'd have to be really strong to do that. Some of them can, so there's always exceptions, but we're not making it easy for them, and we're certainly not doing our part to bridge the gap. Okay. So when we have these negative beliefs and thoughts, right? And then we reflect on memories. We go back to the past and we go, I remember the day you died or something, or even I remember happier times. But I go, you're looking for them when you do that. Your mind is a time and space machine. Everything's happening right here, right now. But in your mind, right now, you can go back to a memory of anything, but you're experiencing it in the now because you're only here now. You can't physically go back in time, can you? But you can project your consciousness back in time. But when you do that and you believe, because you're thinking, well, you're dead, you're not here, and you go back in time, you won't find them there and will feel the pain of that because they are not there. Where are they? They're right here. right here, right now, in this moment, which is all that ever exists. They can only be right here, right now, because they're in a timeless state, remember? They can't be back in the past. It no longer exists, but as a memory. So I'm not saying to forget your memories. That's what some people hear. They go, "You're telling me my memories are bad." No, I'm telling you, you're not going to find them there. And if you go looking for them there and believing that they're gone or feeling like some thought of, "Oh, I miss you," which Alan laughs at me, he goes, "But I'm right here." But if I think the thought I miss you, then I'm going to create the experience of missing him, which means I believe he's not here. So I always tell our clients and students, don't go walking down memory lane until you can handle it without feeling grief. Because if you feel grief when you go back to the past, that means you haven't really established your connection with them here in the now where they exist. How many times have I heard Alan say, and other spirits on the other side say to their loved one, through me or to them directly, "I'm right here. I'm right here. Stay right here. I'm not there. I'm right here. Right here. Stay here." I couldn't understand why in the beginning when Alan first passed, I kept hearing him saying, "I'm right here." And I'd go, "Oh, I know you're right here." It happens so many times. I go, "Wait, I know you're right here." He goes, "I just want you to focus here. Focus here where I am. Don't go traipsing off down, well, remember when, and not yet, not yet. When you're really connected to me, fine. But the minute you go down into a memory, and if you start feeling negative emotion, it means you're believing that they're gone, or you're still in regret about something, or you still have remorse about something. That's fine. That means you got some emotional clearing to do. You got to process those emotions. That's going to make it harder for you to connect with them right here, right now. But chances are you didn't know that, most of you. Like, what? They're right here? Like, they didn't go far, far, far away to, like, heaven is on some other, like, plane, like, far away. No, no. All of reality is enfolded into this one. All the dimensions, you just can't see it, it's not like a location. There's no distance. Consciousness just goes anywhere. So the minute you think of your loved one, they're right there. The minute you have a hold of vision of them in the mind, you're right there. They're just a thought away. As Alan used to tell me, I can hear you call me from across the universe because I'm right here. You could whisper my name and I would hear you. And they know our thoughts. They know all of our thoughts. Okay. They might not know what we're feeling in our body all the time. Okay. They can. It depends where the level of your connection with me and Alan. We're so connected empathically that he feels everything I physically feel, but they still don't always know how, when they project through the veil and are trying different things with us, they don't know how we're experiencing it till we experience it. Then they go, "Oh, that was too strong," or that wasn't strong enough, because they're still learning. Okay, but they are right here, right now. So to heal grief, we should focus on the present moment because that's where they exist with us. And if you find that difficult, then you just need to keep bringing yourself back to the now, to the now. That's why meditation can help. We're going to teach more on meditation. I don't know if it'll be on a YouTube like this. It could be in an actual class that we will teach, but meditation will help you. You don't have to make it complicated. Like I told our academy students yesterday, the easiest thing to do, if you have a bathtub, draw a bath. Water conducts energy. Water makes it easy to speak to the spirit world. So light some candles, sit in this, make this your bath nice and comfy and beautiful, right? Don't have incense there because sometimes spirit comes through with fragrance. So you don't want fragrance to interfere with possible communication of that nature. And just be in the bath and meditate. And don't make it complicated. You don't have to empty your mind. You could chant something. I mean, we teach our students to say, "I'm one with all that is." I am one with all that is, which is basically saying I'm one with God, and just get into a relaxed state and just open up and connect with them. Okay. We are in the process of creating some guided meditations that we're going to sell to help people reach through the veil and connect, but we don't have those yet. But when we do, I will post a link down here. But you can do this really easily. It's meditation is just about just relaxing. Okay. Don't make it complicated. You don't have to go into, again, this mindless state, which is impossible anyway. Just relax. You could just go walking in nature and just being really immersed in nature and not thinking about anything but what you're observing. Just look at the tree and just be one with the tree. And when you have a distracting thought, just push it aside and go back to looking at the tree or the birds or whatever is happening that you're seeing. That's a meditation. Okay. And that will raise your vibration. But the more you're in the present moment, the easier it is to connect with them because this is where they are. Now, the secret to continuing relationship through the veil, what is that secret? So again, let go of fear, doubt, and any fixed expectation of what you should or want to experience. Okay. You want to give them greater leeway to connect because the more specific you get, like, well, I want it to be like this or nothing else, you've just built a hurdle. And like we've just explained, they are learning how to come through. They're not like omnipresent. They're not omnipotent. They're not like superheroes. Okay. Well, Alan says, well, they can speak for themselves. He goes, maybe he is, but for the most part, okay, they can't like do everything. Again, this is like human thinking, somehow believing that someone who's crossed over is just able to do magic right out the box. No, they got to learn. And they're not even going to go down that road if we are not making an effort. Because why would they do that? Why would they learn how to project through the veil if we are not trying to learn how to meet them halfway? They may certainly try to say, hey, I'm here, I'm just trying to let you know I'm okay. And they do that. But they will stop learning and getting stronger at it unless we have committed to it. Alan says spirit is, how do you put it? He says that they're not going to waste energy or time. They don't come through to some people because their loved ones are scared. They want connection, but they're afraid of connection. So they're in inner conflict. That's going to block it too. And he says that's a lot of what happens, that people really want the contact and they're terrified that they might get the contact. So when you are in a opposition to yourself, you're basically shutting the door. That's it. He's always said to me, and Spirit said to me, they said, spirit communication is not complicated at all. It is not rocket science at all. It's happening all day, every day. You are getting communication, you're getting interaction, you're just dismissing it and thinking that something that you thought you saw in your peripheral vision was just something you imagined when it could very well be your loved one or a guide or some other spirit, and you're just dismissing it. How many people have I worked with and I pointed that out to them and other things, and they go, oh my God, I am clairvoyant. I go, uh-huh. You just didn't know what clairvoyance was. But they're trying to reach us, especially those of us who are committed on a spiritual level to rise up above our limiting beliefs, our fears, and our issues. Not just to connect with them through the veil, but for our own growth, because really the reason we're here is for our spiritual growth. It just so happens that reaching through the veil to continue our relationships can be a vehicle for our spiritual growth. Okay. So as I said, they must learn how to connect to us just as we must learn to embody our soul, because we are bridging dimensions. I don't know. You guys don't seem to get it. Like, you just think like this is easy. They're in another dimension. Just because they're in another dimension doesn't mean they can't do it. But you have to understand that you will see it. You experience the connection and the ongoing contact communication when you believe it. You cannot see it or experience it unless you believe it. Belief comes first. Belief unwinds everything, right? It just projects everything. It just lets it all in. But if you don't believe, you are shutting the door. So that's all we have for you today. Believe if you choose or not believe, be on this journey if you want to or not, it's up to you. It's your soul's growth. It's all what's all about. Maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe you are. And it might sound like a daunting task, but it really isn't. And it's what you came here as a soul to experience. So reflect on it, just feel into it. Okay, am I here to continue my relationship through the veil? Does that feel like what my soul is calling me to? You'll know it. Feel it in your heart. When I said that, ask that question of you, take that question, put it into your heart and feel it and go, does that resonate? You will know. You'll either feel this tingling or this your sense of upliftment. You'll feel some positive energy, some positive response, and that will be your answer. If you don't get any response, that could mean you're not ready. If you feel like your energy kind of went flat, like you kind of feel like pushed down a little bit, that could be a no. Your body will tell you. Body will tell you. You can do this if you believe you can do it. It's simple as that. It has nothing to do with what I tell you or anybody else tells you. You get to choose what you believe. I know what I believe. So let us know what you believe. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, let us know in the comments, okay, what you believe. And until next time, be sure you subscribe to our channel, help us get the word out that this is real. Tell your friends about our channel that we teach every week. And all of our videos are here to help you understand who you really are and so that you can make your way through the veil and reunite with whoever you want to on the other side. Again, it could be your guides, it could be your angels, and it certainly can be your loved ones who have never left. They are just waiting, okay, for you to say, I'm here, I'm ready, and I want to be who I am, right? So lots of love until next time. Take care. Have a great rest of your week. Okay, bye-bye.